And we're live. I just want to thank all of you who are going to be watching now or on the replay. We are Amanda Smith and I are just really excited to be able to have this opportunity to discuss all the amazing information that and content that she has got to share with us today. So I'd like to just welcome you, Amanda, to this conversation and thank you so much for being here and doing this with me.
Well, thank you for asking me. I'm really honored.
Well, there are so many directions we can go in this conversation, so it's going to be really fun to try and get as much in as we can. I thought originally when we spoke that we'd start now and then kind of work back, but I would love to just start by asking you where you were born and where you grew up, just so everybody has a context.
Okay,
and then we'll
that's wonderful. I wasn't expecting that, so that's fun. Well, I live in California now, and I was actually born in California, in Southern California, Corona of all places.
Oh, interesting.
I know. I was born in Corona, California on March 18th in 1966. And, you know, Corona means crown or circle. And my hometown was actually built on a circle. It's also called Circle City, and a lot of businesses have the name Circle City because of the one road that is at the center of the town that's in a circle. So we didn't stay there. We left when I was 5. My dad wanted to pursue a PhD in Buddhist philosophy, so we went to Madison, Wisconsin, and was there for 5 years. And there were people from all over the globe there. It was wonderful. I loved it. It was a great representation of how things could be and really how they should be. You know, we had people from, then it was called Zaire. I'm not sure what they're calling it now. Greece, Korea, China, Japan, Denmark, everywhere. It was wonderful. And we would share food and all get together outside and just loved it. We left when I was 10. My dad tried to get a job doing what he wanted to do, which was teach. It didn't work out. So we spent a year on the farm, my grandma and grandpa's farm in Iowa. We lived there for a year while my dad tried to get work, and it just didn't work out. So we went back to Corona, and I finished out my school years there, and then I left and I never went back. So the short version is I went to Northern California for college initially, got married. He joined the Army. We went to Massachusetts, then we went to Germany. At the time it was West Germany. It became whole Germany while I was there. You know, while I was there, the wall came down. Came back to California. I didn't stay in that marriage. I went back to school at UC Riverside, got my science degrees, then moved to Idaho, and then came back and settled in Central California, which is where I am now, the San Luis Obispo area. And I've been here for 21 years. And prior to that, I was moving all over the place, getting to see the world. So,
well, it sounds like a really, really wonderful way to have lived your life. Lots of interest and lots of excitement, lots of amazing experiences. But I'm sure it's been really great having that foundation to now be where you are now, living with your passions. Hey.
Yes.
And I know you have a real passion for the sciences as well as spirituality. But I'd love you just to share the sciences that you're in, because I know you've got at least two companies that are science-based. Would you just love to just tell us about them? I know one's in water and then one's obviously in the soil side of things.
Right. So I have an environmental laboratory. It's a state certified lab. So we work for wastewater treatment plants that are city and county government type of things. drinking water municipalities, lots of individual type of things like wineries and well drillers, engineers. So we're in the regulatory business, keeping your water safe. And we do get some soil samples, but we are mostly water, yes. And then my offshoot from that, because I want to be part of the solution, not just part of monitoring where the problems might crop up, but I want to be part of that solution. And that's the activated earth, which is where I combine science and spirituality to activate the earth. So either through energy activations or through putting an ecosystem back into the soil. So as a scientist, I'm a soil scientist, and I just it's such a big universe, the soil. It's amazing, and but everything's tiny, but it's so complex and dynamic, and there's never a loss for something new to learn about how it works. And watching it and observing it is one of the best ways to do that, and connecting with it. So the activated earth doesn't build an ecosystem until the earth actually communicates what it wants. So being connected to the land really helps that ecosystem blossom forth.
That sounds really fascinating. I know that you said from a physical point of view and a science point of view, you're doing all sorts of things like, making sure you're putting microbes back in and putting life and nutrition back into the soil so that you can build a healthy foundation for plants to grow as well. Because obviously a lot of farmers at the moment and huge agricultural corporations use farming methods that deplete the soil, which also has an effect on our food, because our food then doesn't contain all the nutrition that we need. So one of your passions, which I loved the moment I heard you speaking about that when we met in Puerto Rico, and I know my dad had a keen interest in hearing about it, is making sure that farming techniques are returned to a healthy, sustainable form. And part of your goal is to help educate people who are farming, whether it is those winemakers or whether it is those big corporations planting food that feeds the nation. It's trying to make sure that all that nutrition and that healthy soil is part of the plan. And I just think that that's so important. And I'm so grateful that you're doing that.
Thank you.
I'm hoping that more people will join you around the world and making sure. Yeah. But I love the fact that you're adding the spiritual component to it, so that science and spirituality actually can work together. And I'd love you just to talk a bit about what that activation is. What is activating or listening to the earth? How do we do that? And what does an activation look like?
Well, let me begin at the first thing that you asked. So how we actually listen, how we get connected is through the creation of the energetic connection with the above and the below. So and it moves, I don't know if you can see, so it moves in this infinity type of motion. And as land stewards, it's part of our job. So we're not just meant to come here and live our lives separate from the earth. What we are meant to do is actually be an energetic connection to the universal life force energy and the earth energy. So the earth is physical and non-physical. It has its physicalness, and it also has its like etheric type of energy, just like we do. We have our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual energy all represented in this human form, and a lot of it we can't see. We can internally we can feel our mentalness and our emotionalness, and the way to actually manage everything is through connecting with the spiritual. So that trickles down through all those layers, and the earth needs us to be that connection for her. Now, we don't do it by ourselves. The trees also do it. So we are more like trees energetically than anything else on this planet. You know, the trees are always doing it. So the way to bring that connection in is to begin with visualizing that infinity. And we're going to do that later when we do that mini healing session.
That will be wonderful to experience
Yeah.
that. Yes. And I just wanted to jump in here. I remember that there was can't remember whether it was an article or whether it was a video clip just speaking about how trees are so interconnected and how there is this communication that we're not aware of, which supports the idea that there is a spiritual layer, even to the plant life, more than what we know. And there's all sorts of levels and layers to consciousness that, as you're so right, that as people and the way we taught normally to live our lives, we have no idea that it's going on. But there are some key people that, like, such as yourself, and then there are a couple of people who have done videos on bird migration and animals, where they're tuning into the various magnetic core of the earth, and there's some sort of communication going on at a different level that allows them to migrate when they need to, that allows them to tune into all sorts of instinctive behavior that, on levels that I myself have always wondered, like, how do they know? I know that in South Africa, we've had a man called Anthony Lawrence. I hope I've got his name right. He wrote The Elephant Whisperer.
I am reading
and he
that
was
book
very much,
right now.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, how about that?
I am reading that book right now. I'm almost halfway through it. Yeah.
It's such a beautiful book because he develops this relationship with those elephants. And literally there's some sort of layer of communication that they have with him and among themselves that's not on a verbal level. It's either telepathic or it's some level of consciousness where they are aware of things, and obviously aware of his intentions too, that they were able to develop that special relationship. Okay, I'm going to hand back to you to carry on.
Okay, so from that point, it inspires me to talk a little bit more about what trees are teaching us, because what you mentioned about
great.
how they communicate with each other, and they actually they can give each other nutrients through their root zone and the fungal network that is underground. They can share nutrients. They can share information. They produce a volatile organic compound. It's like an aerosol type of thing. So when an animal is eating part of their foliage, they know it. And then they emit this aerosol, and the other trees, they pick up the scent basically, and they know what's coming. And they produce this molecule that gives the foliage a bad taste. So
That's
that
amazing.
they will, so a certain amount of nutrients will get passed to the animal, which the animal needs, but not so much that the trees are destroyed. And the thing though is how do they know? How do they know? So this is why I do this combination of science and spirituality, because everything has this consciousness, and that consciousness is there for us to actually tap into and learn from. And we can be, if we develop the skill that we've forgotten, we can be like the elephants. We can be like those elephants that were in communication with this man who was just amazing and took the time to listen. That's what we have to do with the earth. If we take the time to listen, she will tell us everything we need to know. And all our resources come from the ground, not just the physical ones, the time, resources like money, doors of opportunity opening, a means to moving through something that you would like to be done with, and on to the next thing. Those are all resources that come from the earth. And through that earth connection, we can actually put ourselves in a groove instead of a rut.
That sounds absolutely fascinating. So that's something that you actually teach. That's your one
Yes.
of your skills, your
Yes.
magic ninja skills.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Well, is there a little bit more you can tell us about that without giving too much away? Just how we can, how do we start tapping into that? And so that we, in our own lives, can, how does it actually work? Because if we, we used to, well, I'm personally, we're used to thinking of the world as the planet as something that you live on. And yes, you can get resources like food and water and a place to build your house. And, cities are built on it. There's a whole gridwork of life that happens on the surface. So how did you find out about it, first of all? What got you to this point where you actually even were aware of it so that you could start helping people learn about it?
Well, there was a time in my life when it just seemed like nothing was going right. I wasn't happy. And kind of, I would say sort of borderline depression. I was just in this existence mode, and, things that I'd wanted in my life, I didn't have them, or so I thought. And I didn't feel like there was any space left to have these things that I desired. And I went to a land retreat, and it was in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And it was just this amazing place. And it was all about learning about what that mentor, what she called Great Mother. So the Great Mother is simply the divine feminine, and she is housed in the earth, at the earth's core. And when I got there, I didn't realize what I was going to be getting out of it. And what I received was this deep, deep connection with the land and with the feminine. And we often, we go up, that's our culture, is we go up for, prayers. This is where God is, or whatever you consider to be your higher power, or, where you came from before we came into this physical existence. And we forget about the down part. So this is the divine masculine, and the earth is the divine feminine. And once I made that connection and started to listen to that feminine voice, she began to talk to me. So just in establishing that connection, it brings this enveloping, nurturing acceptance. And the way it starts is just this feeling of, so grateful that you've connected with me again. So happy that you're here. You are my child. I love you. I'm going to nurture you. And
do you actually hear words like that?
For me, it's a feeling.
Amazing.
For me, it's a feeling.
Okay.
That was what I received. That was the feeling that I received. It's like getting a hug. It's like a baby receiving a hug from its mother and being totally cared for. And that's how it begins. So once you settle into that feeling, then you start to hear messages. Now, there are times when I can get like what you're talking about. I hear words, or I get a full on chunk of something that's communicated to me, and then I have to sit down and journal it and get all the details. But for that, it was a feeling. Now, but everybody's different in how they perceive and receive. So it could be, that somebody might hear words, but that's where it came from. So it was given to me over a couple of years of time, the way for me to co-create with the earth, this whole system that I am using now. It was given to me through downloads.
Yeah. Oh, that's really incredible. Because I know that living in America, you've got the Native American Indians who are very much, their way of life is in tune with the earth and listening to Mother Earth. Hey, so it's like you've tuned into that ability, which you say is available to all of us. And the advantages of tuning into it are that we create an earth and an environment that is life sustaining.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the gift that you say. Would you say, well, yeah, is there anything else that you'd like to share about the gift that you've gotten? You've obviously got that whole system that you're sharing now with helping to create soil that's sustainable.
Right.
And,
What I'm inspired to share is that in this general lack of connection, this place that humanity has gone, in this general lack of connection, what that has created for us is basically like disease, just disease overall. And uh, so the earth isn't healthy and we're not healthy. And we could be resonating with the earth, and in resonating with the earth, and that also that the up connection, in keeping that all together and in balance and in resonating, it would shift the way we actually receive resources from the earth. And
could you
right now,
expand a bit on that?
yeah. So
Yeah,
right
what do
now
you mean by that?
we just right now we take whatever we want. We feel like it's our right to just take whatever we want, but we don't give back. So if we were to give back and treat the earth like a conscious being, which she is, it would change the whole pattern of how we receive resources from the ground. And it would shift us from being this ever upward spiraling, what we call economy, that you just have to keep producing more and more and more for it to be considered successful. Instead, you would change the goal of creating more to it being everybody has what they need, and there's enough for everybody, which there is, if we would stop taking and simply be in this symbiotic relationship with the earth, and we would receive from her more than we're getting right now. We would receive more than we're getting right now.
Wow. I think almost just need to take a moment and actually just really take in what you're saying. It's so profound. Because I think there's such a mindset at the moment that we need to be in fear that the earth's not going to be able to sustain us. Whereas what you're saying, if we change the way we do it, then there is more than enough.
Yeah. Yep. There's more than enough.
That's incredible. We definitely need to get you on YouTube and on a world stage, actually on CNN or something. Yeah, but something suitable, just because this is just such an inspiring message. And I think that goes back to where there's a lot of movement at the moment, hey, in terms of us moving into a heart-based living. So, and that ties in with what you're saying. Communicating with Mother Earth is really learning to live from your heart and having that heart-to-heart connection, whether it's with the planet, realizing that everything has consciousness, whether it is the plants in your garden, whether it is the microbes in the soil, whether it is the earth herself. It's actually an incredible concept. And I find it incredibly exciting because it changes the whole dynamic. And I think you're right. This whole experience that we're going through at the moment, where the world is basically being able to pause the way it has been doing life and get more in tune. The potential for getting into a space that you're describing is just greater than ever. Right. Where there's that little pause from, because I know life for me felt like I was on a hamster wheel. So I'm sure everybody has had that feeling where you... Yeah. So what would you recommend for people to, I know you've got workshops. Would you like to just take a few moments to describe what you teach people in those workshops? I know you have touched on them, but just to take it a bit deeper.
So I have worked with people individually, but I'm getting ready to start a group next month where I'm going to teach my system, the system that was given to me, that involves, the combination of that divine masculine and feminine in connection with the universal life force energy, and then the earth energy, and it will include how to work inside the elements of the 4 directions to find what it is you need to either enhance or clear. And by following the energy of each of those elements, then you are given a clear message of what to do. And not only what to do as far as how to clear it, but what to do next and what that would look like when you're done. So that's what I'm going to be teaching in the workshop that I'm doing next month. And I also like to teach people what the nature messages are. So I go into that a lot when I'm working with people. And the goal is to get people so that they have more resources. So not only create this connection so that you can live in harmony with the earth and with this world here that we're in, but to be able to use that to create more resources, because we're in a time right now where everybody who's feeling anxious and knows that they have a message, maybe they're not sure what it is or how to achieve it. It's time for those people to figure it out. And this is a system that can help them figure it out. They can figure out what their message is. They can figure out what to do next. And if you follow it, then things will work for you. So that's what I teach. And sometimes I'm able to give people certain nuts and bolts for how to actually organize what they're doing and how to present it.
Okay, so it's even right down to some very practical business steps or
yes. Yes.
actual practical next steps.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love you just to go back and just talk about the 4 directions. What do you mean by the 4 directions? Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So you had mentioned, the Native American indigenous culture that is here. And being here, especially in California, we have our coastal natives here, and that I live on the coast. I just felt very connected to what they call the elements of the 4 directions, which are water, air, fire, and earth. So
okay.
in this system, the way I use it, the core of the earth is where the divine feminine is. The earth, as far as the element that I tap into, is it's the actual earth. It's the ground. It's here, what's at the surface that has messages for us. So by using those elements, you can look at emotionally what's going on with you, what a clearing would look like for you. Air and fire cooperate together to help you clear. The water element helps you look at, what are you feeling? And it's the feeling, it's how you feel that brings you what you create. So if you feel like you're stuck and nothing's ever going to work, then that's what you're going to create. So how do you clear that? So using this system, you can look at how to clear it and actually clear it for yourself. And then you can see where you're going to go next.
Okay, that gives me an idea, because I've actually been learning something about that uses in meditation, and I don't know if that's similar for how you do it. Do a healing meditation where you're using, say you are struggling with an emotional issue, then you could say take the sadness or the anger or the upset and almost put it into a fire that you're imagining in your mind, and just sort of see it being burned away. That kind of a thing, where you're using the elements and the properties that they contain. I think that's
right.
It's an ancient type of knowledge.
It is.
It's actually extremely effective.
And I knew when it was given to me that it wasn't new. It's not like I thought of it. It's just what was right for me. So, and what felt good.
And it's very much it's very much in line with where your passions are. You've had this connection with the earth and this desire to help support, I guess, humanity really,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
animals, but also the earth. I mean, everybody's really included in your mission of that's sustaining, loving. It's a deep love. It's a deep love for the earth and a deep
Yeah.
love for mankind, and a really deep desire for it to all work together in harmony as we once did. Um, well, that's really exciting. And I know yesterday when we were just having a chat in preparing for this call, you spoke about the connection that you had in Uluru.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it wasn't Uluru, hey, but it was that mountain near Uluru.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, just talking about how maybe we should just lay a bit of a context for it, how at the moment, and if you would like to lay the context, feel free, um, just that there is this awakening that we are moving into this golden age. And so there is a shift in consciousness happening from doing it the hard way to it being able to be more in flow. So there's a lot of non-physical support around us that's actually helping us remember where we came from, remember all this knowledge that, you know, what
Yeah.
you've tapped into is this amazing knowledge that can really save the earth. Would you like to just share a little bit about what you discovered
Yeah,
when you were in
I would love to
Australia?
share that story because it amazes me still when I think about it and how everything just unfolded. Um,
Yeah.
so I think for me, what this story, you know, what this means about sharing today is so that people understand that where they are and what they're doing right now is exactly where they're meant to be and supposed to be doing. So it's not an accident. That how we decide to respond to what's going on around us is definitely within, you know, our, you know, how we can make choices, how we are beings that have free will, basically. However, it's where we're meant to be and what we're meant to be doing. So when I went to Australia with my spiritual business group, we went to Uluru. And while I was there at Uluru, I was overwhelmed with the energy, and my body felt so slow and fluid. It's like I could not move very fast. And it was a weird feeling, but I was I was curious about it. And we went into we
Is
went
that a
into
portal? Sorry if I can just interrupt there just for a
yeah.
second. Is Uluru considered a portal?
It is, yeah, it is
Okay.
a portal. So it is. And when I was there, I went deep inside of it. And I mean, I stood there facing it when we were in the little visitor center, and just I felt myself go deep inside. And when I came back out, that's when everything was like in super slow motion. And from there, I went into that art center that's there. And you're not allowed to take any pictures. So all I can do is describe just how everything about everything is in that Aboriginal art that's there. It's everything about everything that ever was, is, or will be. It's just in that art.
Like the
And
story of creation.
I know everything. It's everything. Every painting, every single one has everything. And it's when you're in that and you're in all of that energy, it's just whew, it's amazing. I would encourage anybody who wants to really experience a vortex, go there. I mean, Sedona's got nothing on this for people that are familiar
Really?
with Sedona, Arizona. An amazing place where I've been, and the portals are great there too. But I haven't ever experienced anything like what I did there. So as I was perusing the art, I began to see that they constantly had the Pleiades in their paintings.
And
And
what is the Pleiades, if you
the
don't mind me
Pleiades
just
are
checking
a
in?
group of stars. They're a cluster of 7 stars. And if you look just right, kind of out of the corner of your eye, you can see all 7 of them when you gaze up at the sky. And I can see them, especially at right at sunset. They show up in like the it's a little bit north, but mostly west from when I look out over the ocean here. And there was this pattern of the constantly like seeing the Pleiades and or the seven sisters. And I found this one painting that just really sucked me in, and it was different from the others because that art there has all these patterns, swirls, dots, interesting patterns. And this one was actually the sky. It was just the sky, and it very pronounced painting of the seven sisters. And I loved it. If I, could have bought it, I would have, but I didn't have room in my suitcase. So I just remembered it. I brought it home with me mentally. But from there, we went to the other set of rocks that are out there. It's called Kata Juta. And before going to Australia, I looked at pictures of Uluru, and I saw this picture of Kata Juta, and I was thinking to myself, what is that place? I want to go there. And I was really drawn to it. And then it turned out we were going there, and I didn't even know that we were going to get to go. And as I walked through that area with my group, I began to feel this sense of where things began for me here on this planet. And I know that there was a time when the first time that I came here in the physical, I came here from a place that had been a much higher vibration. And I was here with a group of my own beings, and a bunch of them decided they didn't want to stay, and they left. And they actually physically left. They on spaceships.
Actually, yeah, I remember you saying that you actually, it was on spaceships.
Yeah.
So interesting. Sure.
Right.
So fascinating.
So I decided that to stay here and work on ascension here. And this is the time for it now. And I realized that Kata Juta was my ground zero. That's where that happened.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's amazing that you went back there at this time. Hey, as we're going into this new, the 2020 energies of remembering and awakening.
For those who might think that I'm just making this up, that I just want to see that, I would like to share the ending of this story, which is as we were walking out, I saw, in my third eye, I saw a group of beings following us. They were very tall, like 10, 12 feet tall, and very gangly, skinny arms and legs, and pointy sort of triangular shaped head, and they had this sort of darkness about them. It was almost like it wasn't true form. They were just denser energy, and not as dense as we are like this, but denser energy instead of just this floating energy. And
okay, so they took some sort of shape or identity.
They did
communicate. Okay.
Yeah. And so I said to them, I was like, I see you back there. What are, who are you and what are you doing? And the response that I got was basically, oh, don't worry about us. We're just escorting you out. So I thought nothing of it and continued on out and was aware of them for a while, and then they were gone. So a couple hours later, we're driving down the road and we stop somewhere for dinner, and we go in and sit down. My group sits down at this table, and I'm drawn into this art that's on the wall, and dancing around a campfire in a painting were those beings, exactly the way I saw them in my third eye, dancing around. Yeah. And wow. There, I feel like they are the Pleiadians. Oh, this is interesting. So my cats have brought a hummingbird in the house. And
oh, wow.
I know they're going to destroy things in my art room while they try to catch it.
Do you want to run and rescue it, or
it's right now it is quite alive and flying around. I think I just want to finish this story. And
Okay.
we'll just let this play out.
Okay.
So when I came home and I started doing land activations, I was doing this for a set of mountains that we have here, and it occurred to me as I was activating these places that they're called the Seven Sisters. There are seven
I just love
peaks,
that.
and they're called the Seven Sisters. And to me, that was this awakening and awareness that regardless of how I have ever felt about anything that has ever happened in my life, that I didn't like it, or it felt wrong, or it was too challenging, or everything seemed hard, I am where I'm supposed to be and doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now. So that's the real long version of that story.
Amazing. That's quite an incredible story with so much serendipity in it, that and that element of that mystical connection with those beings actually showing up in that painting. And then the
Yeah.
Seven Sisters, there's just so many touch points there that you can't ignore that. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
Very exciting story to hear. Well, I know you might need to go and rescue that hummingbird. So would you love to just dive into the activation so we can experience
let's do it.
what it is you offer and have to teach and share with us? Thank you.
Yeah, and right now I think the hummingbird's going to be fine, and I honestly I feel like it's here because hummingbirds are they are a mystical symbol for opening of energy portals, of this connection, bringing change. So
Wow.
the cats are just watching it. They haven't broken anything. So yeah, let's do
Okay.
that. Let's do this little activation for ourselves.
Okay.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So if you could all just close your eyes and take some deep breaths. Just focus on your heart and your heart center. And breathe into your heart center. See the light that is there in your heart. And as you breathe in love. And as you breathe love out. And see that light in your heart grow until it encompasses your heart, your body, the room that you're in, the place where you're sitting, your home, your town, your state, your province, your country, until it expands as far as it would like to go, even to include the whole earth and beyond. And then bring your awareness to your crown and see it open and blossom. And bring in that energy, that divine masculine energy, the Father Sky energy, and breathe it down into your heart. And allow it to move down through all the rest of your chakras, out through your fingers, through your toes. It dives deeply into the earth and wraps around the earth's molten lava core. And as that earth energy comes back up, it brings with it the divine feminine into your heart, where the pinpoint of that infinity symbol meets. And then it goes back up to the divine masculine, to the Father Sky, and back down to the divine feminine. This creates the balanced masculine and feminine in your heart, the divine masculine and feminine. And it is your divine masculine and feminine and the universal and earth masculine and feminine, and they are the same. And now I'd like you to see yourself. I'd like to see yourself as large. And this is what happened for me in Uluru. And you see yourself dive deep into the core. You could even imagine doing this at Uluru. You move yourself into the core of the earth through that portal. And while you're here, you can see your own energy and its shape of the torus. which is a donut shape. So it creates it's around you. It's like a donut. The energy comes in and it moves through you and comes back up and moves back down and comes through you and then moves back up. And as you see that around yourself here in the Earth's core, you can see it expand until it becomes as large as the torus that surrounds the Earth. And it is one. You are one with that. And from this place, you are receiving the frequency of the Earth. And at the same time, receiving the frequency of the universal life force energy. And this is the frequency of health and wealth. And see your energies and your connecting places between all of the bodies, the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. They are connecting and healing. Places that have been broken are being reconnected through this connection with the Earth's torus. And through allowing your energy to be one with the Earth. Because they are the same. Your power grid is the Earth's power grid, is your power grid. And know that this healing will continue beyond this until it's done. And this is the first way of connecting with the Earth and being able to see her patterns and doing it from a place of universal connection. Connection with the universe and connection with the physical place that we live in. This anchors you in to both places, allowing you to create in a way that you've not been able to before. And when you feel complete with this, you can bring yourself back up from the Earth's core, back up through that portal that is Uluru. See yourself back on the ground, back in your room, wherever you're sitting, outside perhaps, inside, wherever it is that you were before we started. Bring your awareness back to that place. And sit here knowing that you have received the frequency of the Earth. You have created that connection, and she is so happy that you're here. And when you're done, you can open your eyes. It's time for me to go save a hummingbird.
Okay, thank you so much for that. We'll have to make another time to talk about. There's lots more to talk about, but thank you so much. I really loved chatting with you.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, very special. And let us know how it goes with the hummingbird. And if you wouldn't mind just posting the link to your course that you're offering next month, just below the video when we post it. All right.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. Chat soon. Thanks, everybody.